Mic check. Mic check. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Holiday Island Advertising and Promotion Commission for a workshop meeting on February 17th of 2025. Secretary, if you would, take the roll.
Commissioner Lawler?
Here.
Commissioner Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Lodewijk here. Commissioner Hall?
Here.
Commissioner Plumley?
Here.
All present.
All right. And moving on to the agenda, it's a workshop, so we can just open up the floor and the first item, discussion on A&P permits. Let's see. Commissioner Hall, you want to talk about the permits that are going out right now and what we have going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. You bet. Yeah, just kind of starting from, the beginning when we were out promoting this whole thing before the election took place, just kind of starting from there, the basics of it and what we're kind of looking for today. Understanding the A&P tax in advancing Holiday Island and the community benefits with advertising, parks, recreation, and beyond. Kind of goes through here, what is an A&P tax, who makes up A&P commission, and so forth. So as far as a Q&A, open it up to the floor to start answering those and see what we can, how we can explain it and make better sense of it.
That's fine. And I'll also open up that we do have online going tonight that people can type in a question that they want.
Yeah.
Also open on the floor. So it is just an open discussion. If there are questions, we can answer them. And that's what this is for. So anytime anybody wants to ask a question online or in public, we can take any of those.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see anybody online yet, but we have one in person.
There are multiple people online right now.
Oh, are there? Okay.
There are.
No questions though, as far as that goes.
Can you tell us where the current A&P permit process is? And what you've got going out right now and what's been applied for and all?
I've got 54 permits out now with another 6 that I have to process, applications that I received. And it usually takes about 2 weeks to complete a permit after getting their application. So everybody should have received their permits already. But as many have already reached out to me, they have not because of the mail is what I'm assuming is going on. But hopefully they will get them, and if not, I will send them out new ones.
Okay. All right. And so the process right now is if you haven't gotten a permit.
Yeah, if somebody hasn't received their permit already, they need to reach out to me. And they can just email me at thom@cityofholidayisland.com.
Okay. And how many permits have been issued total, do you know?
54.
54.
Mm-hmm.
We have,
And I have 6 more applications.
okay. So
That
we
you
still
are
have some
gonna be-
applications that are not in
Those
yet.
are the ones that I was talking to you about
Okay.
that I need to bring to you.
Okay. All right. Any questions about permits? On the floor, online? Anybody? Comments, commissioners on A&P permits? There's definitely a mail problem, without a doubt.
I have a question. Can I have it to where they can come pick it up from somewhere?
We could definitely do that if they'd like to pick it up, but I think we'll have to turn to that at some point here.
Yeah, if we're having issues, 'cause I don't want to do it again and then have them not receive them again.
Yep. We could do that.
May have to, because, it's coming up quick.
Was that the registered letter? No. Oh, no. That was, the registered letter was just the notification of the tax and how you have to fill out the application. You should have received another letter that was like, it would have been a piece of paper about like this big, maybe like half a sheet of paper, excuse me, and that had your permit on it.
Separate from the business license.
Correct. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Do we know of anybody that's gotten a permit now? Have we heard from anybody that does have one?
No.
Okay. All right, then we're probably gonna have to start making those up and either have people do them or remail them or.
Email them?
No.
Technically, you can't email them because of it being a signature base and we haven't gotten that system. Yep. Tabitha and I talked about that the other day about how to get it to the locations quicker. There is a solution for that in the future, we just don't have it set up in place to do it right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the permits. You got something? Okay. If there's not any other question about permits, I figured that'd probably be the shortest category that we have. We'll move on to the tax form and filing. And I'm gonna let you have this one, because you can walk us through the form, and I'm sure plenty of people have questions about it.
Okay, so there are two separate forms. There's one for single property owners, so that'll be just a straight up form. That's the same form that you all had approved before. And then I have a multi-filer form. That'll be for anybody who has 2 or more properties. And the idea is so that they don't have to keep filling out the same information for multiple properties, because they're all under one account is how I did it. So like Holiday Island Lodging will have a form of about 5 pages, but if they did the single filer form, it would be 2 pages per property. So it could be a lot of information. I tried to make the instructions as clear as possible to anybody. Like if you fill out the information for, I think it was on the tax worksheet lines 1 through 9, then they carry over to the tax return. So you put that information there. And I encouraged everybody that if they had any questions, to please reach out to me and let me know, and I would definitely help them walk through it. Excuse me.
And the multi-location form is not out. The board has not approved that one yet. That's something
No,
you're just
that
finishing
was
up.
yes, that was the one that I had showed you, and I wanted to bring it to the board so that way. And I used Holiday Island Lodging as my
Have any of the other commissioners seen this form?
no.
Okay. So I'm the only one so far.
Yes.
I wish I had one.
That was for formatting.
We'll,
That
we'll
was-
have it at the next meeting, though. We'll have one at the next meeting to look at and review, and it's gonna be a process to go through it and look at it,
Yes,
so.
because it was a lot of work just to build the one form, and I didn't want to keep redoing it. So I wanted one outside opinion before I just sent it out to everybody to see,
Gotcha.
does this even work well, or does this even flow correctly?
Yeah.
It's good enough. I would say, go ahead and send it to all the commissioners. We'll have a meeting on it at the beginning of the month, so,
Okay, so
Do the
I'll send it,
multi-listing.
I'll send it tonight then.
and then. I did? Yeah. Send it to everybody, and that way they can start reviewing it.
Yeah.
We'll have to approve it at the next meeting that we have, and I'm sure we'll have to take some time to make edits to it and change it.
So I'm going to remove the information for Holiday Island Lodging then, and then just put like property 1, 2, whatever, going down the list. That way it can be approved for all multi-filers. Otherwise, it'll just have all of Holiday Island Lodging's information on it.
Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Plummer, you have anything on forms, tax filing? Commissioner Hall, you have anything on single filings or anything?
It's a simple.
Huh?
It's a simple.
It is a simple. A single.
Look at the other ones, though.
I guess the only other thing to talk about is the Airbnb tax collection, VRBO tax collection. We're not any closer to getting either one of those
No, we
to
did,
collect.
yeah, we did get some decent news. I'm hopeful to get a call this week from Airbnb. I hope I have reached someone that's gonna, give me the info. I know you've been after it for some time with both of them, and it's been tough to get anything from them, but I'm supposed to get a call this week that sounds promising. I don't, we'll see. But Verbo is still yet to be dealt with really with any specific person.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there. Plus, we have legal counsel that we're searching for, which has been extremely tough. Either they're already covering another A&P or a city and they can't go outside of that, or they've never done it, or the ones that have are full. It's a kind of a rare representation, I guess, legal-wise, to get that done. So it's hard to find.
I guess since our last meeting that I updated on the legal side of things, I have probably had 15 or 16 different legal groups I've talked to
Yep.
about taking it.
Yep,
So-
I've talked to 3, and, yeah, so,
Yep.
it's a tough one. I wish, obviously, we don't know that the tax is gonna be put in place till the election happens. That's in November. I get it, we're in February, but, things do take time, and unfortunately, I don't know if any other A&Ps, were up and ready that quick or not. I just don't know. They've never done this before, but, we're trying to get it, arranged to have it in time for March 1st, so it's just a matter of some documentation being dealt with, really, when it comes down to it, but finding the person to get that done is, pretty tough.
Yeah, and I guess the worst outcome of the tax collection for March 1st is, I guess, the worst news that I've gotten so far of tracking down, is that the locations are still responsible for the tax, whether Airbnb and VRBO collected.
That's right, and, at least on Airbnb, I mean, there are ways to, I guess, negate that for the time being. You can request additional funds. It's, I mean, there's some other options, but, or increase, your rate to accommodate that, for the time being. I'm not sure. There's really not a fallback for it. It's just gonna be up to the owner to figure out, I guess, until we have something solid in place with both these platforms. The other platforms we're on, we're good to go, right?
There is only one platform right now that is set to go.
That we're got, yeah. Mhm. So, yeah, it's a matter of doing that. I mean, my personal, Airbnb, I don't think I'm gonna be requesting additional money for my guests, but that's just my personal, opinion on it. We've already made. Yes.
Did you come?
It's recording purposes or whatever.
You turn it on.
Yeah, you can just push the button, state your name and your address or whatever.
Amy Scott, 23925 Fate Anderson Road, Hinesville, Arkansas. There is a way to add that percentage on Airbnb,
Mhm.
and they'll send it to the owner,
Mhm.
and then we can send that in. So,
Right. I guess what I was getting at is like the bookings that are already taken place that are after March 1st, going back to asking for more money and that sort of thing. On a personal basis, I'm just not going to go install that. But as far as installing that now,
right.
for any future bookings, then they'll know about it and they'll be upfront. So it is capable of doing that. Verbo, I'm not sure. I haven't figured that out yet, and I don't
There's-
think they offer it.
They don't.
Yeah, customer service has been pretty tough. I had one tell me that they did. And it's like, no, I don't think you do, but that's why I'm calling.
They do with another company, but it
Okay.
charges you a one-time fee setup of like $300 per property.
Is that what you were referring to in your email? Yeah, because I didn't see the details or whatever, but that's, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
And then
Yeah,
a monthly
that's-
fee,
Mhm.
and
No, we'll be in line here, I mean, obviously ASAP. So until then, Airbnb is kind of the only place to install that before we get any more bookings. And that's what we're gonna have to recommend our owners do. As a matter of fact, I'll do a screenshot of the directions for that to send out on the email.
Mhm.
So that way everybody, here, go get this installed now before you get any more bookings. And kind of, negate what's coming.
And that's kind of my thing, because when all this was happening, I said, as long as I don't have to do anything, I'm for it.
Right.
And they do take it out for certain cities, but I know
Yes.
you have to contact them to do it.
And that's what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna get it streamlined.
So these forms, is it just, you're just like the honor system?
What do you mean like the honor system?
I mean, how do you know what bookings I have anyways?
Oh,
Right now, it's the
you-
honor system.
Yeah, we have to go based on how you fill out the forms.
Mhm. So it only helps the city to get it set up with these companies, that it just goes directly
Oh,
to you.
That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're trying to accomplish. And then on our end of things with our owners, going forward, at some point, these will be in the mail. It'll all be digital stuff, and
Mhm.
it's just gonna take a minute to get to that level even. But as far as that goes, yeah, I agree. So,
So that was my main
Mhm.
question, because if I can't add it to Verbo,
Mhm.
I don't want it coming out of my bottom line.
right.
So,
Mhm.
what are we doing in the meantime?
Well,
This is my question.
I understand. Yeah, the thought was, is like, well, I may have to increase my rates a little bit, but I don't want to increase my rates to push me out of the market of other competitors, you know, and that sort of thing. So it's a conundrum of sorts here that we're in. So I'm not real sure. What were you going to say, Bryce?
I mean, I do have the answer to that. It's not a pleasant answer to the whole thing.
Well, no, yeah, go ahead.
The tax is due on all bookings, no matter if the company is actually collecting the tax or not.
Right.
What is done in an Airbnb or short-term rental inside of the city, once this tax day starts on March the 1st, that tax is due, no matter if it was collected from the customer or not. So,
But again, it goes back to the, they pay,
it does.
and I shouldn't have to pay.
I would agree that that is normally a pass-through tax that goes, but
It
the
is.
action is still there, and the action is still taxable.
And that's what I'm saying, so right now, it's an honor system. So you don't know what bookings I have.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying,
No, I
it's the
understand,
truth.
yeah, right.
So who is gonna be honest with their Verbo bookings?
So what is the fallback for filings right now of the audit and checking of those?
I remember when I can't just erroneously audit every account. I have
Right.
to go through a process. You
Yep.
can only do it a certain amount of times a year. I don't remember the whole law off the top of my head. So the best I can do is keep an eye on their forms, and if there's anything that looks like it doesn't align with, hey, I know that this place has been booked several times, but they're reporting 0 income, then I can go and ask them for records to prove their sales and audit them at that rate.
Do the ET ones still go with the form?
No, you cannot ask them for that either. That's considered audit information.
Okay.
So I can't even ask them to give me their ET ones until I have to audit them.
Okay.
But it's kind of like the same way of filling out the ET ones. Like, the state is operating the same way. You can't, they're not asking you to provide proof of all your sales throughout the month. So, that's the only thing I can do is audit if there's anything suspicious going on. So, say that they report no income and then tons of income and then no income, then I can go, oh, well, something's a little fishy here. I can look into that. But other than that,
Commissioner
no, I
Plumlee,
have to kind of do the honors.
You have an answer to the problem.
She's repeating everything I've already said. I
Yep.
mean, ET1 was actually gonna be our fallback. But now that she said we can't request that, so there's your fallback. But with Airbnb and VRBOs, I believe you can get a monthly statement of
Yes.
the income. So that we could, I think, require them to turn that in.
We can, and that's also why on the tax forms, I asked for the owners to put their like how much they say that they made from Airbnb and VRBO on those, because I want to make sure that Airbnb and VRBO are remitting the money that they are actually supposed to be remitting to us. So it's the owners also giving me the information I need to make sure we are getting the money. So if their customers are paying that tax, the tax actually goes where it belongs. It's a check and balance for them.
And she's already covered everything that I've sat there and worked on. Even Ms. Scott here said it's gonna have to be an honor system until we get everything in line. And she's right, who's gonna be honest about it? There's a handful of them.
Yep. The only bad news I have about it is that the tax is still due on
I know.
all the actual part that's there,
Do
no matter
you-
if it's collected or not.
Do you by chance have any contacts that we might talk to, the Airbnb or Verbo or whatever, since you've been involved with them so long?
No.
Since we've
They're-
tried
they're
for
boogers
months
to get a hold of.
to try to reach them. Thank you.
I actually stumbled across the contact I had because I was calling about my personal property and not for the AMP Commission. So I'm like, uh-oh, I found a back channel on accident somehow maybe. It's been a puzzle. Yeah, I mean, Bryce has been on it for months trying to get this done. It's almost impossible. So yeah, we're down to need to figure it out. But
There's two different departments for one of them. I can't remember. It's Airbnb or VRBO. One of them's legal and it's in Washington State, and their tax department is on the opposite side of the continent in New York.
Yep.
So, two totally different places. And
yeah, I talked to somebody in Toronto and the main contact that's supposed to contact me is from San Francisco, the headquarters, so,
Yep.
yeah.
It's all
I
over the
thought that was
place.
promised, like, oh, the headquarters, okay, we're getting somewhere maybe. They do have a phone.
Well, and like, I think they take out for Eureka's A&P, so.
Oh, no, yes, exactly.
Do you know anybody there that could give you, you know?
They can't
Well,
help us
we've gone
because
through all of those things too, and
they're
there are
contracted.
contracts with all of them. And I reviewed every one of the contracts. And their contact signers, some of those companies, those people don't work at those companies anymore.
Not to mention we're limited on what even they could give us because they're contracted strictly with Eureka. Like, we were trying to get them to represent us too, and they're like, no, we're contracted with the city of Eureka, we can't represent anybody else. We're limited, it's like, hands are tied, we've kind of gone everywhere, but, so yeah. It's been tough, I'm not sure if every A&P gets to this situation or not, but, I know the first, when you first started, it's the worst part of it, but this is a major part of it. We gotta collect the tax dollars, and it has to come from the guest.
There is
Not the owner.
a lone A&P commission that's out there in Arkansas I talked to that decided to go away from going to Airbnb or VRBO or any of them. And they make the homeowner remit the tax for all of it,
Mhm.
whether they collect it or not.
Yeah. How do they honor system it? Or, I mean, is it an honor system? Do they actually have yeah, we don't know.
It has to be.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, it'd have to be. There's no really other way to police it. That's, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful we get some more information exactly on that here in the next few days. When I get the call, we're not gonna stop until we figure it out. So, including, before I get that call, we're still calling around everywhere we can. If you come up with any ideas, please send them. I'm sorry we seem rudderless on this situation right now, but it is what it is, and we're trying to figure it out. I don't know the best way to combat it for owners necessarily, other than, I just figure I guess I'm gonna eat some
And
tax
look,
cost.
And as far as the A&P commission, we can't forgive the tax
That's,
during
yeah,
this
there's
period of time
nothing.
either.
That's right.
So we run into both problems.
Legally, you can't do, yeah, you can't just do that. A reimbursement system, I mean, I don't, for future taxes that are collected, I mean, that's going from the, once it's installed, there's no really way to reimburse that or make up for it. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's just a handful of bookings that all of us owners have that we're gonna have to deal with possibly some tax on. I mean, I don't know. It
I
just
think I'm
depends.
at like 15.
Yeah, I'm at 11 bookings right
So
now.
that I have to.
But it's gonna continue going forward until we actually get this book
That's
part in
right.
with Airbnb. So
That's
it's not
right.
just the bookings you have now that are gonna go
It's
over into
ones that
March
came
1.
tomorrow.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna be every
up
booking
to
come March 1
Yeah.
That
going
happens
forward.
between now and the time it's installed.
Yep.
That's right.
But like I said, at least Airbnb has that option to
They
where
do.
they will add it and send it to me, and then I'll send it in.
Yeah, and then you're just having to process it. I'm like, once we get it with the city, you won't have to
Yeah,
worry
that's-
about it. But
I
there is a
still
way
don't wanna
that,
mess with it, but at least
right,
I have
at
that
least you
option.
can collect it and not eat it.
The
Yes.
VRBO path seems to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, so on all future bookings, we just need to get those instructions to all the owners on how to do that. So I'll do that.
And that's also my question, because I'm surprised I'm one of the only owners here, but,
Yeah, most of them are out of town, but
I mean, do they know that they have to collect it themselves?
by
Because
the
it
notices.
should be
we-
set up to where it just goes, so.
Right, yeah, I mean, we've sent out notices, the mailings, the,
That I haven't got.
Facebook has just now kind of got started, so we're, there. We don't really have any other hub other than the permit list, that we've gone off of with the mass emails and that sort of thing, so.
I've debated the same thing. I mean, do we need to put out a notice of what's going on?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at with these instructions. Like a screenshot of these instructions. Here's where you go into your Airbnb account. Here's where you go. Install this tax for any future bookings that happens. The ones that you've already have booked, it's your choice if you want to go ahead and ask for some more money from them, because you can do that. There's a feature on that to request more funds and then have a description for it. And I'm personally not going to do that, but that is an option if you want to do that with the ones that have already booked, to try to recoup that tax.
What is our suggestion for the VRBO?
I don't really have one. They don't have a tool like Airbnb does to accomplish that. So The only thing there that I could think of for future bookings is that you raise, again, you raise your price, but you're trying to be competitive, so that defeats the purpose. But everybody's on the same playing field there too. We're all in one market in Holiday Island, so, I say it kind of hurts a competitive pricing deal, but if everybody else is having to do the same thing to negate the tax that they would have to eat, then they're probably going to raise their price too. So now it's back to.
And your 3%, you'll never catch up with the 3% for raising your rate. 'Cause
You
it's
can't.
3% on gross.
You can't. It just
So
it just
you're gonna
keeps
have 3%
going
on top of
that.
of that,
All right.
so.
I know. Yeah, it's a conundrum. Yeah. There's a threshold where it doesn't work, unfortunately. And so yeah, it's a matter of figuring out with Verbo. They just don't have a tool. It's just a matter of getting the agreement signed and getting it installed. At least we have something with Airbnb to possibly negate some of that if we can get everybody to install that on their listing. So yeah, we just need to get the information to them. So we'll have another notice going out with the instructions on how to install that on Airbnb. Hopefully some news from both of them by the time that goes out. I bet we could probably have those out, by tomorrow. As far as a notice on where we're at, kind of update everybody exactly where we're at and be.
It just stinks that it's affecting the STRs. It's not affecting anybody else.
That's
So
right.
it's affecting our bottom line.
It is.
And, I just don't like that part.
I know you don't, and I don't either. But I'm not saying it's okay, because I think, I get it. I just don't. I wish I had an answer to negate it, but we don't. And we still got some time to get it installed. I have a feeling that once
just
we
have a
get the
couple
right
weeks.
person, it'll come together and it gets installed pretty quick. It's not a rocket science. It's literally a contact problem.
Mhm.
It's just a mess. You're just dealing with I never thought it would be this hard, man. Just several months of literally trying to get this under an agreement. It was our first objective, we got to get this in place in case the vote passes. That way we're ready. All the other stuff can wait, but we got to have that installed. And this is where we're at, but we've tried like crazy to do it. So we'll see what happens with this week, and then have everybody on Airbnb install the tax themselves. But on the ones that are already booked, I get it. I don't like it either, because it's adding up quick. I'm sorry? Yeah. Okay.
Any other ideas?
I don't see any questions online yet either.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, moving on to future advertising and promotion of STRs. Ben, I'll give this one to you again. Let you go with it, because I know you've dealt with the drone people and
Yeah,
content.
right.
And
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what we're still working on, is to capture every season and that sort of thing. We got the drone.
It's winter here in a couple days.
That's right. I got the drone guy on standby if he can get here from Eureka. Says he's got all-wheel drive, so I invited him to come hang out for a few days if he didn't get stuck or whatever. But anyway, hopefully we get some more footage of this event coming up. But going forward, I think the overall objective is to obviously get this tax thing in line so we can start collecting tax dollars to do stuff with. But once that's established and we start collecting tax dollars, is to get this local area on notice, such as the billboards that we've got going on right now that'll be put up pretty soon. Other digital marketing in the local area, some print possibly, and that sort of thing. I don't know how many times. I've been here since last January, pretty solid, since I bought my place. I didn't close on it till March, but I've been up here since January, pretty solid last year. And I go to Eureka quite often, and it's probably every time I strike up conversations with the guests that are there. I can tell they're here for tourism, and I'll mention Holiday Island, and they have no idea. We've been coming here for 30 years and have no idea. We hear it all the time. So we need more, obviously, attention locally to let these people know, hey, you can drive over here and check it out. Who knows? Maybe they stay here next year instead of Eureka. I'm not trying to, it's not a bad thing against Eureka or but some of these events, they absolutely flow over to here naturally because there's no room left. So on Airbnb or Vrbo, they see on the map, okay, well, there's some close by. But the ones that are in town that aren't looking over here will be on notice that we're around. So I think that's important to kind of start in a local area. You know, we don't have an exact blueprint for how that's going to be yet. We're still projecting tax dollars, and that may be coming in, and those projections have changed a little. So it kind of depends on how that shapes up, on how much we're going to be expecting to get, on what we can spend. Other than the local area, then it's a matter of getting to other regions, DFW, Kansas City, Tulsa, St. Louis, I mean, lots of others, Louisiana. I've got lots of guests that come from Louisiana and Texas. But getting into those markets and making this place known. And then on top of that, all the events and that sort of thing that we're going to try to start putting together on top of what the chamber does and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, but I think we've got to get started here locally to make it noticeable to these people that have no idea about it, that have been coming to Eureka Springs forever. So anyway, yeah, I kind of think that's the direction, but again, it all depends on the type of advertising dollars that we are going to be expecting to come in.
As far as the drone and video and photo content, have we started reaching out to the Airbnbs, STRs, to get homes lined up for content?
Yeah, so that's coming here real soon in the coming weeks, because I've got something kind of lined up to possibly benefit all of us STR owners here on Holiday Island. And so I'm working on that, and it may include that every listing gets something from it for content and that sort of thing out of it. This outfit's looking, it's not necessarily a platform like Airbnb. It's just a site, but they are looking to become a kind of a booking deal, but they've gained a lot of traction, but they don't have any listings here. And they, again, I mean, they have heard of it and they claim they know of it, but they don't have any listings here. So they're really after, finding some more SDRs to promote and that sort of thing. So maybe we can benefit everyone by having them do some kind of deal for everybody. And that was kind of where I was going to go on a per listing deal. And that's what they specialize in, actually. They individually go out. They don't just provide a place to list your property. They come do the content, set it up.
We have the drone person that will shoot the content.
Yeah, right.
For us, all right? Do we have
Yeah,
homes
we
lined
already
up for
have-
that part?
Yeah, with the current one, no, we do not. No, we don't have any homes lined up or signed up with our current drone guy. He's hasn't, I guess, reached out to any of them or have really a way of doing that. But
we did get, we approved a release form.
Oh, yeah,
So that
that's
all
right.
of the houses would sign a release, so we could use them without any problem. And with Ben trying to do some sort of a short-term rental association, to combining everybody, that we can notify them
Yeah.
much quicker, and as a united, determine which advertising they feel would be best.
right,
For
input from
this.
everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah. Looks like, do we have a question on here?
No, I put
okay.
in.
You just, okay, I see.
But as I understand it, the drone guy that's coming for the different seasons and the thing, if we had houses we could get content from, they could shoot it and we could have content of it to use it in our advertising, right?
That's right,
There's
yeah.
a list of houses that we're looking for to,
That's right.
Get the
To-
content.
To get the content from. And as a matter of fact, that release form, I could probably attach with that a notice that we send out and just get that out there with this update that we're gonna send with the instructions on Airbnb to get the tax installed. So we could attach that as well, because we're finalized it and voted on it, right? Yeah, okay. So we'll have that included on it as well.
all right?
That'll give us the freedom to move about.
And if you could send the notice to me for the constant contact and to Tabby.
Yep.
For her, they might, 3 different ways.
Yes, yeah, right. Absolutely.
Any other comments on the future of advertising and promotion of the STRs? If not, we'll move on to future events. Secretary, I'll let you take up future events. You have more events going on than anybody else here.
Well, the very first event, I think, would be the Arkansas Chili Cook-Off, April 12th, in connection with the Community Connect. And we certainly invite any STR that wants a booth. It's free. It's at the barn on 120 Shields is the best address to give you. It's from 11 to 4. The chili cook-off starts earlier, and in between the red and the chili and the green chili, the folks that come will have an opportunity to talk with you and any other association. So that's the first one that's coming. And then we have April 27th, we're bringing in Elvis from Branson, and it'll be at the barn. It'll be hamburger dinner. And so we are inviting people from far and wide to come to see that. May 18th, 17th, and 18th is the 7th annual bass tournament at the Eagle Rock Marina. Last year we had over 5 different states, 65 different cities, 131 different anglers. And on Friday before that, the 16th, we'll have a fish fry, at which point we had over 300 people. Again, half of these folks have never been to Holiday Island. So we'd like to share this information with our STRs so that they can suggest to their guests to join us on this and maybe book more business by including these. We have a golf pro that's working to get more golf tournaments. So if anyone has any ideas relating to golf, we appreciate you passing that to us also. Of course, we're going to have Ribs and Rise in September. There's a lot of other activities being talked about, arts and crafts show, carvings on the island, etc. It's just a matter of putting this all together. But we have a pretty full activity coming that we hope the STRs would benefit from. The billboard would have been up, except the cold and icy, windy weather. It was a little bit too hazardous to get that up there. So we're also working on a billboard in Grandview. On Gateway. So you'll see the billboard and you'll come into Holiday Island before you even get to Eureka Springs.
I ain't seen it yet. I've been over there 3 times this week. I ain't even seen the golf man.
Oh, he's down.
Oh, is it? That's why I haven't seen it.
It's missing the center section.
I've been over that way 3 times this week, and I've yet to see it. I keep looking for it and point it out and remember it. I'm like,
It has to be repaired first and then wrapped.
Yeah, we're still working to deal with them too,
at
right?
least I know I didn't fall asleep through that area.
And also on these events, I've looked at how do we get more events here to bring people in here. I've also looked at the events themselves. At some point, I think the AMP would start creating some of these events and having these events outside, or start inheriting some of these events to do.
Yeah.
You both clicked in, so
Yeah,
I'll let you have
that's
it.
kind of where I was going, earlier, I
Same way.
guess. Yeah,
And plus, we're open to ideas too. If
exactly, yeah.
anybody in the listening audience has an idea of what type of event and a contact, it's something certainly we can look at and work out so we can bring the best of the people and the best of the events here to Holiday Island.
Any other comments on the events?
They have to be clean events, family-oriented events. You have to say that with these people. They will come up with some oddball events. They have to be family-oriented.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't have anything else on the events itself, at least for now, but I was hoping we would get more questions online, or even have more people that had questions about the other items, but
That's the other thing as far as the content goes, all the events, we're going to try to have one of our, we've got a couple of different contacts on photography and drone and that sort of thing, so they're not, one's not going to be available every time we need them. So that's why we've got a few, but yeah, I kind of forgot about the content we'll create with all the events that are coming to help push that along, so.
So Peggy, I think it had come up at one point about possibly having a hot air balloon festival, and people were really interested in that. I just don't know what all is involved in making it happen.
A hot air balloon costs over $5,000 per balloon, $2,500 if you were just going to have it tethered and go up.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's a wonderful idea, and I would really love to have one, but it might be something that's going to be another 2 years down the
Okay.
road.
Once
And
get
we have
established.
given some of the drone folks a calendar of all of our events so that they can maybe schedule their time to make sure they can come here. And we also have a notice so that we'll show it at the events. It says that when you enter the event, you might be photographed, and if you don't want to be photographed, we're sorry. Because when the drone goes over, it's going to take pictures over everything. We just want everyone to be aware that they could be on YouTube or Facebook.
And I would think that if there are groups that would like to have an event like that, they certainly could begin fundraising for it.
That's very, very true.
Yeah. Because
And
we might eventually be able to afford it as the A&P Commission, but right now we're just getting started. So if they want to see it sooner, then,
That's right.
start fundraising for it.
That's right.
That's a good
yeah.
point. And of course, once
community.
the barn refurbishes over and the ballroom and the restaurant, and we get pictures, this is another reason why this year the money's really going to be spent to get the content, the beauty, the new everything.
That's
so that people see what it is they're going to be renting. We're working with the CIAPC and Eureka Springs for events that they can't book because their meeting rooms are full, so that they would come to us and give us an opportunity to help them and keep the people in the Eureka Springs Holiday Island area.
Yep.
Okay. That is all the business that we had on there, all the topics we were gonna discuss. Commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments about the meeting as a whole, what we have going on? If not,
I can't think
we're at public comments too. We still haven't had any online questions. We do have viewers online, but no questions from them.
of
We have no public comments. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I second.
We have a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.